the World War II, I went, like all of the young men of my age, we had finished high school, and we were all met with this. Everyone was concerned about the nation, and it was a patriotic thing, but every boy felt that it was his responsibility to be a part of the war. Okay. Not everyone that went on their choice. Many of them were drafted, and by drafted means their name went on the list, and when they were needed, regardless of what the branch of service was, they were called to defend the nation. I was fortunate enough to see the excitement that went on, and so I volunteered and went into the Navy in August of 1942, at the early part of the war. I was a photographer, and at this time of the war, the United States was just beginning to defend itself after Pearl Harbor, and all of our losses, and it disrupted the families. There's hardly a family that did not have a relative that was killed or wounded, but mostly served. I was a photographer and went into the Pacific as a combat motion picture and still photographer. So I have my memories and I have my photographs of that made the history. At this time in life, it's hard for the average person to understand what it was like at that time. This young man here is myself at that time, and I was a combat photographer and went from battle after battle, photographing for the newspapers and for history. We documented what it was like, and we also documented for the purpose of intelligence what was going on and what needed to be done. We were fighting on two fronts, in the European and the Pacific. I went into the Pacific, and we were selected because of our ability as a photographer and other items, which I do not know, but I was fortunate enough to be selected because I was on Admiral Nimitz' staff, and Admiral Nimitz was the highest ranking of all of the officers in the Navy. And there we were chosen, and there were 52 of us that were designated combat photographers. We were very proud of it, extremely proud, and it helped us so much in being able to do our job we were treated with cooperation in every way, and it enabled us to, in a movie fashion, and photographs that were used in the newspapers, magazines, and books, and also the university's libraries. Worked in small units, 2 or 3, and we had authority to travel. Our orders read that you are authorized to transfer from ship to ship or ship to shore wherever photographic coverage is possible, with the authority of Chester W. Nimitz, Fleet Admiral, USN. That was like having the blessing of the Lord to get through our job done. And we, with that as a forerunner, we moved at every landing that the Marine Corps and the Army, both in concert. I made the landings, and from Guam, Saipan, Tinian, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa, and the little surrounding island groups of till the end of the war. It was exciting. And you became accustomed to it, and until you begin to think in the way of making it as a history. Fortunately, I was not wounded. I lost my sound man, which recorded sound, and the first one I lost after only being with me 4 days. And we saw the enemy, but mostly we heard them by the sounds of explosions and so forth. At times I was terrified. At times I became so self-confident that I was really a threat to myself. It was not a matter of bravery. It was that you had seen it before, and you had survived. This is me with the largest camera at the time, a 35 millimeter camera, the same as they used in the movies. We shot. Color was not invented at the time to the extent that it was a normal thing. But we had a certain amount of film and items that we photographed in color. And that was a great excitement for us. And that's me. And at this time, with the other part, most of my hair cut off, is still 10 times more than I have today, as you can see. Here's a cartoon of me in the it's not the fact that it's me, it's the fact that the person who did the cartoon was the man who invented one of the comic strips that was most popular at the time.
And it was what was the cartoon?
Huh?
What was the cartoon?
It's a cartoon.
What cartoon was it?
It was
Snuffy Smith?
Snuffy Smith.